Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video. I've thought about making this video so many times over the last several months and now I finally can, because this video is all about some Christmas presents that were given and received this last Christmas. So it started because my sisters and I have two sisters and they are both readers as well. And we were just talking about books, clearly, and the concept of, you can get blind dates with the book, and then you can get books where like a blind date with the book like every month, so that it's like a book a month for a year. I felt like that wasn't the best description, but hopefully you know what I'm talking about. So we were just talking about it and thinking about it, and we said, what if we kind of did that with each other? And what if we each gifted the other sister 6 books so that we each receive 12 books? So it's a book a month for 12 months of books for 2025. So we did that. I'm so excited. I spent months carefully curating my list to perfectly choose the books for each of my sisters according to their interests, or what I hope their interests would be, or books that I really liked that I think that they would enjoy and things like that. So first, I am going to talk about the books that I gifted to them and a little bit about why, and then I will show you my 12 books and what I got from my sisters. So these first few books that I gifted them, I gave the same book to both of them. And the first one is How the Word Is Passed by Clint Smith. I think I first read this book in 2023, I want to say, and it is so good. It's How the Word Is Passed, and the subtitle, A Reckoning with the History of Slavery Across America. Each chapter is about these different locations, primarily in the United States, but there's a couple others, I think there's 2 others, in other parts of the world. And the author travels to these places and interviews people, etc., and basically is presenting the reader with sides of history that are not often taught. So he talks about Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's estate, the Whitney Plantation, the Blandford Cemetery, Angola Prison. It's really, really good. It's very sobering, but I would say that this is a must read for anybody that lives in the United States, because these are things that we need to know. And some of it, I had already learned, mostly from self-educating, because I did not learn most of this growing up. But it's so important that we do this reading and this learning and hear some of these aspects of history. So I gave this book to both of them. I'm just going to read one of the paragraphs from the Goodreads description. In a deeply researched and transporting exploration of the legacy of slavery and its imprint on centuries of American history, How the Word Is Passed illustrates how some of our country's most essential stories are hidden in plain view, whether in places we might drive by on our way to work, holidays such as Juneteenth, or entire neighborhoods like downtown Manhattan, on which the brutal history of the trade in enslaved men, women, and children has been deeply imprinted. It's really good. I would say this book is a must read. It's very good. So this is the first one that I gave my sisters. The second one that I gave both of them is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. I talked about this book in one of my early videos, 3 books that made me feel seen. It's been a number of years since I've read it, but I want to reread it because this book really impacted me. Wait, this says soon to be a major motion picture produced by Reese Witherspoon? Is it already a movie? Has the movie come out? I did not know that, but I want to see it. This book is about a woman, I'm pretty sure she is in her 30s. This is about a woman, I want to say she's in her early 30s, who likes things just the way that she has them. She has a pattern and a rhythm to her life, but she also kind of can struggle with conventional social norms and things like that. Something happens where she ends up kind of becoming friends with this man named Raymond. And the two of them, in becoming friends and getting to know each other, kind of help each other grow as people. And so the story is about, I was gonna say, maybe this is accurate. I don't know if this is accurate. It's like an adult coming of age story, which I absolutely adore those because I can resonate so much with them. But Eleanor, as a woman in her 30s, is learning to rediscover herself and who she is and what she wants out of life and how to let go of things in the past that no longer serve her. It's really good. I really liked that book and I definitely want to reread it. The third book that I gave to both of them was I Must Betray You by Ruta Sepetys. This is a historical fiction set in, I believe, 1989 in Romania. And it's the story of a 17-year-old boy named Cristian Florescu, and he wants to be a writer. However, in Romania in 1989, you couldn't have those types of dreams or goals. Someone approaches him to ask him to spy. However, they didn't necessarily ask because he knew that if he didn't say yes, his life would be threatened and the lives of those that he loves would be threatened. So this book is historical fiction, but it talks a lot about the time period and things going on within the country in general, and also just what it was like living in a time and place when you were faced with impossible choices and dilemmas, and you couldn't trust anybody. You couldn't trust the person at the grocery store or your neighbor or your family. It was an emotional read, but a very good young adult historical fiction. Okay, so those are the 3 books that I gave to both of them. So now splitting them up, the last 3 that I gave to my oldest sister, one is Curses by Lish McBride. This is a young adult fantasy retelling of Beauty and the Beast. However, the Beast is a woman this time. Much like Beauty and the Beast, she was cursed and she will live as a beast for the rest of her life unless she decides to marry someone that her mom chooses before she turns 18. This was a fun story, and I liked the way that it kind of shifted the typical telling of Beauty and the Beast on its head in some ways, and it was just a fun retelling and a fun fantasy and a fun young adult read, so I thought that she might enjoy that. I also gave her Someone Else's Shoes by Jojo Moyes. I read this in 2023, and I loved it. I love a book about female friendship, and it's another story of women doing what needs to be done to take steps for themselves and to be there for their friends and their family, and it was just so good. And the last book I got her was When Religion Hurts You, Healing from Religious Trauma and the Impact of High Control Religion by Laura E. Anderson. This book, I read most of it, I think, and I think the only reason I didn't finish it was because I was actually at my other sister's house and she had it from the library, and I kind of skim read it while I was at her house, but I didn't finish it because it was hers and her library. And in this book, she takes a look at religious trauma and how that can affect a person and ways of growing and moving through that. Okay, then for my other sister, I gave her one of my top reads from last year, and that was Funny Story by Emily Henry. I think it is her first Emily Henry book, so I really hope that she likes it. I have talked quite a bit about Funny Story on this channel. I even did a mini vlog about the book, so I will link to that here, and I'm not gonna go into it yet again on this video. The next book I got her was More Than We Can Tell by Bridget Kemmerer. Now, Bridget Kemmerer, I have talked about her a lot on my channel. She wrote this series, A Curse So Dark and Lonely, and both of my sisters have read that and recommended it to me, and so good. I love, love, love that series. So a year or 2 ago, I started reading some other books by the same author, and this one I really liked. I think all of her books might be YA, and A Curse So Dark and Lonely is fantasy. More Than We Can Tell is not fantasy. It was a really sweet read, and I'm hoping that my sister enjoys it since she enjoyed these other books. And the last book that I got this sister was The Only One Left by Riley Sager, which again, I've talked about quite a few times on this channel. It was my top read for 2023. And this sister really likes psychological thrillers as well, so I really hope that she likes this one. And again, since I've talked about it quite a few times on this channel, I'm not gonna go into it too much on here, but it is a very good psychological thriller. So, okay, those are the books that I gave my sisters, and I have to admit, like, I had these piles in my closet for months. I don't know how many times I walked into my closet just to look at my piles because I was so happy with finding books that I really thought that they would enjoy, and it was just so fun. Also, I bought, I think, almost all of them, maybe all but one, on pangobooks. So I bought almost all of them used and for really good prices. I really enjoyed using pangobooks, and I like being able to shop from and pay real people and not Amazon, which used to be my go-to. So I really enjoyed using pangobooks. And if you're interested, I am technically a Pango ambassador. You can get $5 off your, I believe, $25 order. And the link for that is in my YouTube bio. Okay, now I can show you the pile of books that my sisters gave me. Okay, now this is not going to be, this probably will be a much faster section because most of these books, I don't honestly know what they're about, so I can't really do much of a teaser for what they are. So I will keep you updated as I read. The first one is Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel, best-selling author of The Glass Hotel and Station. I feel like I've heard of these, Glass Hotel and Station 11, but I've not heard of this one. So I know nothing about it. Edwin St. Andrew is 18 years old when he crosses the Atlantic by steamship, exiled from polite English society following an ill-conceived diatribe at a dinner party. He enters the forest, spellbound by the beauty of the Canadian wilderness, and suddenly hears the notes of a violin echoing in an airship terminal, an experience that shocks him to his core. 2 centuries later, a famous writer named Olive Llewellyn is on a book tour. She's traveling all over Earth, but her home is the second moon colony, a place of white stone, spire towers, and artificial beauty. Within the text of Olive's best-selling pandemic novel lies a strange passage. A man plays his violin for spare change in the echoing corridor of an airship terminal as the trees of a forest rise around him. Okay, so let's see. When was this published? It sounds like it must be new. Oh, 2022? Okay, this sounds really interesting. Catwoman Soul Stealer by Sarah J. Maas. I did not know. Obviously, ACOTAR, Throne of Glass. What else? The Crescent City, which I've only read her ACOTAR series so far. I really want to read Throne of Glass. However, I think somebody did not return the book to the library because it says that I am first in line, and it said that for months, so I have not read Throne of Glass yet. Anyways, apparently she also wrote a Catwoman book, which I am really looking forward to. Also, I love it when whatever this part of the book is called, have little designs on them. So it's literally about Catwoman, and I love Catwoman, so I'm excited to get to that. The Comfort Book by Matt Haig. This was on my Amazon wish list, and I'm so excited that my sister got this for me. I have actually read this book, but I really wanted a copy. This book is really good. It's short little snippets. They're not poems, but just little snippets of thoughts about mental health and happiness and comfort, and it's really sweet, really encouraging, encouraging. Did I just say that twice in a row? It's really encouraging. Yeah, I recommend this. I'm really excited to have a copy of this. The Emotional Craft of Fiction. I have wanted this book for so long. I am so excited. Donald Moss, I believe, is the author. I am very excited to read this because if there's anything that I want to make sure that my books have is I want emotional depth. I don't want words on a page, so I'm really excited to continue to hone and develop that in my own writing. The Book of Gothel. I don't know much about this other than I remember when my sister read this and she really liked it, so I am looking forward to diving into this. Everyone knows the story of Rapunzel in her tower, but do you know the story of the witch who put her there? Mary McMine's spellbinding debut novel reveals the truth behind the fairy tale, the truth they never wanted you to know, as only a witch might tell it. This should be a fun read. I'm looking forward to that. The Book of Doors, another one that I think this is new-ish, isn't it? Because I feel like, oh, I love, what is this, Deckled Edges? Is that Deckled Edges? I love that. I feel like it was this year, yeah, copyright 2024, that I saw so many people talking about this book and I've heard so many good things. Next is The Reserve by Russell Banks. Let's see. Part love story, part murder mystery, set on the cusp of the Second World War, Russell Banks' sharp wit and deeply engaging new novel raises dangerous questions about class, politics, art, love, and madness, and explores what happens when two powerful personalities trapped at opposite ends of a social divide begin to break the rules. Moving from the secluded beauty of the Adirondack wilderness to the skies above war-torn Spain and fascist Germany, The Reserve is a clever, incisive, and passionately romantic novel of suspense that adds a new dimension to this acclaimed author's extraordinary repertoire. So it looks like a historical fiction. The Paris Apartment by Kelly Bowen. It looks like a historical fiction novel. I don't know much about it, but it looks like a dual timeline in London in 2017 and also Paris 1942, and I'm assuming the characters and timelines will intersect somehow. So there's that one, The Paris Apartment. The Gutsy Girl, Escapades for Your Life of Epic Adventure by Caroline Paul. So this book I am really excited about. It has these fun little, like, I don't know, excerpts, journal this, and then look, just fun little like pages and stuff. The Gutsy Girl encourages a new generation to conquer fears, face challenges, and pursue the lives they want. Lives of confidence, self-reliance, friendship, and fun. I am really excited about this one. It looks so good. And look at the dedication. To all the gutsy girls who were cautioned that they shouldn't, wouldn't, or couldn't, and they did. Thank you. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. So it's talking about like women in history, and then there's also like this little section about identifying your feelings and journal prompts. I think that it's written for young girls, but just from flipping through, I think this is going to be very good for me in my 30s and healing my little girl self. So I'm really excited for this. Hands-Free Mama, A Guide to Putting Down the Phone, Burning the To-Do List, and Letting Go of Perfection to Grasp What Really Matters by Rachel Macy Stafford. I first heard about this book several years ago and am intrigued by the concept because can't we all benefit from a little less technology in our lives sometimes? Night Falls on Predicament Avenue by Jamie Jo Wright. This seems like it's going to be a mystery / maybe a thriller, but I don't know much about it, so we will see as I get to it. And the last book is book 1 in the Spiderwick Chronicles, More Deckled Edges, that I absolutely adore. I have heard of the Spiderwick Chronicles, but I don't know anything about it, so it's a fun little book. Ooh, some really fun illustrations. That's so cool. Oh wait, there's 2 authors and one of which is Holly Black. Is that the same? Didn't Holly Black write The Cruel Prince, or is that someone else? How interesting, I will have to look that up. So I can finally now complete this video that I've been so excited to complete. And now I have 12 new books for my 2025 reading. I would love to hear from you guys if you have read any of these books and what you, especially some of these that I have not read, if you liked them or if you have more of a review, since I don't know what most of those are about. And if you have ever done anything like this, or if you're intrigued to do something like this, what books would you pick? Either specific titles or specific types of books? I would love to hear. We are already making plans to do this again for Christmas of 2025. I've already started making my list and curating all the books. It's so fun picking books that I think that they will enjoy, and I've already started my list. So until next time, happy reading.